together, yeah. The entire city of Miami is celebrating.
Jamal Finkley, Black Tree TV. I don't know if you remember, Leslie. Last time we seen each other, we was hanging out in the elevator in Central Park South for Harriet.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, good to see
yeah.
you, bro. Good to, yeah, I love the whole vibe background too. It's amazing. The painting, the color, it looks great.
Well, I gotta tell you, man, I don't know if you check your Twitter mentions, but after I saw this film with Macro about a month and a half ago, I tweeted like, Leslie Odom Jr. finally is gonna get his Oscar nomination for this. And I'm dead serious about that. I really feel that your performance as Sam Cooke stood out among all these great actors and this great director, Regina King, that put it together. I really thought it was like real standout, and to see the monologues and the conversations between you and Kingsley portraying Malcolm X was just like an amazing thing. So I really am pulling for that, and I hope that happens for you.
Thank you.
One of the things that was interesting to me was that the song In the Wind by Bob Dylan, and that conversation, to find out later that Sam Cooke actually recorded that song later on.
Yeah.
Like how momentous was this night to have so many elements that happen from it? Like what do you think about that?
Kingsley and I talked about at the beginning of that, we were talking about, art is symbolic. It's never literal. There's no frame around our life. That's what the artist does. That's what Kemp does and Regina does. They put a frame around people acting. So it exists in symbolism. So on that night, it's not literal. On that night, Malcolm represents Sam's insecurity about what he's offering the movement. It's historical fiction, so we don't know that a conversation like that literally happened, but we can imagine that it did. And we certainly do. It moves us with veracity because we've had those conversations amongst each other. So I actually went back to Blowing in the Wind for the song that I wrote for the movie Speak Now, because that was Sam's original inspiration. He was so troubled by the fact that the little folk singer, that little white boy, wrote this song that spoke more to the movement than anything Sam had done. That's really not what he hadn't synthesized it all yet. And so, he did record Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind, and he sang it, many times. But slowly he chipped away at, I think, his greatest, in a lifetime, in a career full of exceptional work. He gave us one of the most timeless, impactful songs in modern history, with The Change Is Gonna Come. And it was the synthesization of his whole life. That is the coming together, not only of his relationships with men like Malcolm and Cassius and Jim. It's his training in the church. It's his training as a gospel singer, then moving into pop music with You Send Me. He really puts all of that together, his activism too, and he gives us this song. And then he leaves us, of course, way too soon.
I know when I'm being watched, Sam.
Boy, your paranoia is really cramping my style now. Come on, just because you can't see bugs don't mean they ain't in the house, Sam. Up on this dirty-ass roof.
Why don't you be like Bing Crosby about that shit, man, and accentuate the motherfucking positive? Look at this view.
I bet they're doing them for me. It's nice, ain't it, Malcolm?
Yeah, it's most definitely soothing, Cass. The air up here is cooler.
Far away from the prying eyes of your G-men.
Yeah, you joke all you want, Sam. I'm telling you, it's got worse since the tension between me and Mr. Muhammad. I met with a writer in New York a few weeks back. There were two guys following us through the airport. I swear it was the same two.
I thought you didn't trust writers.
Oh. This one was a brother, and this meeting was important. I figure I better start getting my life story documented in my own words while I can.
Yeah. And lastly, I do have to ask about that. I mean, his death was not too many months after this historical fiction meaning, and I don't think that we've explored it. I've seen it in documentaries, but you think after like doing this character that maybe somebody's going to take a deeper dive and maybe put a feature of Sam and talk about some of this life story of this great artist, musician, friend of Malcolm X and everything else.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Macro got the money together to make a biopic about Sam. Because it's a fascinating life. You know, with this movie though, I didn't want to deal with his death at all. I know Kingsley felt the same way. I wanted him at his most alive in that room. I thought that would be the best way to honor him. That tragedy wouldn't be anywhere lurking in the corners of that hotel room. That him with his brothers on that night, for one night in Miami, he could be alive again, and Malcolm could be alive, and Cassius could be alive. So that's what I focused on with the movie.
Great song in the movie, great performance. Really rooting for you. I mean, if it doesn't get it, you definitely deserve that nod, and the consideration is out there for your performance. Thanks, and I wish you the best going forward.
Happy New Year. Stay safe. All right.
Same to you, brother.
All right.